So my first impressions of Kaylee, I actually had like a jolt of anxiety come up because, I mean, we met on mutual, and so I had seen a picture of her before, but then when I saw her in person, I don't know, I was just like, oh my gosh, she's stunning. And so I thought she was beautiful, so I got even more anxious than I already was, and I'm like, dang, can't screw this up.
We met on mutual and we matched a couple different times, and
about 3 different times,
yeah,
actually.
About 3 different times.
I kept deleting the app, and then finally on the 3rd one I was like, okay, I've got to have some form of contact with this girl. So I messaged her, or I sent her a friend request on Instagram, and when I went to friend her, I noticed that she was following my brother and then this one other girl who I had worked with at a kids camp a few summers earlier. And so I said, oh, I wonder if she knows them through Wasatch Kids. And so I sent her a message and said, over mutual, and I was like, that's my in, I got it. And so I said, yeah, I said, do you know Casey Tittle? And she's like, I do, I worked with him at Wasatch Kids, and then went from there. So
yeah, I had met all of his siblings at Wasatch Camp, kids camp. Like, I knew them for like at least 3 years, and he actually worked there later. I missed him by like a year or 2. So yeah, I kind of knew his family already when we went on our first date, but I saw him standing there by the car, and I was anxious too, but also like felt a little bit of like comfort, and just was excited to get to know him a little more. So. It was a Sunday. It was February 27th, and he was driving back up to Rexburg to get to BYUI, and I was up in Logan. So he asked if he could stop by and that we could go on a date, and I said sure. And so he picked me up outside my apartment, and then we went and drove up to Green Canyon.
Green Canyon,
yeah,
yep.
Green Canyon, and we just watched the sunset and listened to tons of music and just chatted for like at least an hour.
I remember one of the artists that we bonded with was Jake Miller, because he's probably my favorite artist, and whenever I tell people that, not a lot of people know who he is. So when she said she knew who he was, I was like, oh, perfect. And so listened to some of him, and I just remember how easy it was to talk to her. Before I picked her up, I thought of some questions that I could ask her, and then I was like, oh no, what if I run out of questions? But I never felt like I was going to run out of questions. It was just, once I found out something about her, I just wanted to know more, and she was just super easy to talk to. I loved getting to know her, and then then once we were done talking, I was like, okay, well, I kind of want this date to go on, but it's Sunday, I don't really know what we can do. And so then she offered to go back to her apartment. I was like, perfect, we can prolong the date a little more.
And then we ended up going back to my apartment and watched Just Go With It. Mm-hmm. Some of the things I loved most about dating is just getting to know him and beginning to be more comfortable with him, because like he's my best friend, and so it's been nice to just be able to open up to him and be able to just be my complete self and having him love me, even though I can be crazy sometimes. So.
Same answers for me. I've just loved getting to know her, and not only things about her, but just the little quirks that everyone has, like the fun little things, unique things that everyone has. Sometimes I found out like she has some like weirdly fast reflexes, and so I learned that on one of our dates. And then just, yeah, her laugh, and I don't know, just very, very fun person to be around. So I always love going on dates with her. Yeah, so the bowling date, that was our second date, and I was just trying to think of a fun, creative second date, and so it was actually kind of an idea partially I got from my brother-in-law, where he used aspects of it where he had kind of like a scorecard and kind of decided where they were going for dinner, and I was like, well, I'll incorporate that with bowling. And so I put together this little score chart that if she scored X amount of points, it would be this restaurant. And it started out with like the gas station, and then it got all the way up to as good as like, I think Olive Garden or some nicer restaurant. And it was funny because one of the first levels, I guess, there, if she would have gotten low points, it would have been Taco Bell. And because for me, I've never been a huge Taco Bell fan, but I later found out that she loved Taco Bell. So anyway, so I actually turned the activity into, if you score so many points, anything that you pass, you can pick below it. So we actually ended up, believe it or not, going to Chick-fil-A. So it was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And found out she was a really good bowler too. I was not expecting that. I had been on quite a few bowling dates before and wasn't much competition, but I think she ended up beating me. So it was, a pleasant surprise.
Then later found out that he doesn't like to go to Chick-fil-A just because it's expensive.
Yep.
And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, well, I couldn't tell you that on like your second date.
Second day, gotta roll with the punches. So yeah, but it was great. With the ring, we actually got it at Needham's up in Logan, and my mom's cousin actually owns it, and so they worked with us really well and picked out the exact ring that we wanted. I thought about surprising Kaylee, but I'm like, nah, I think it would just be better to have her go with me and pick out the one that she wanted. Since we had our first date at Green Canyon, and then we made our relationship official at a park not too far from the Logan Temple, I wanted to incorporate those two spots into into the engagement. And so I ended up taking her to Green Canyon first and gave her a note there and just told her how much she means to me and how much I love her. And then, because she gets pretty emotional, and so I thought we'd get a few of the tears out early so we can kind of regroup. And so then we went to the second spot where we made things official, and there I gave her her band, actually, her wedding band, and so she could have that for pictures, and kind of made it our promise ring. Told her some things I would promise to do to her and do with her, and then we ended up having the engagement spot be it's a spot up Logan Canyon where we had gone on a date last summer. We'd found a place to hammock off to the side, and it had a stream that ran off to the side, and it was beautiful because the snow and the ice were coming off the mountain, and so it was perfect.
I had a slight idea it was gonna happen because it was on the 1-year anniversary of our first date, and so he kind of told me, like, just get ready, we're gonna go do something nice for our date today. And then once he took me to those first two spots, I knew, and then it was so pretty. He did such a good job up there. So my favorite thing, or one of my favorite things about Damon, is that he's just so sweet. He makes me feel so comfortable. He just brings me so much joy, and I just can't wait to have him forever.
Yeah, Kaylee's the same way. I feel so comfortable around her, and part of that is she's just so kind and loving, and not only to me but to everyone around her. And that was one of the first things that stood out to me, is just her sweet, kind heart. And so I love that.
One thing I'm looking forward to is just being able to like see him every day, wake up next to him, and tell him all about everything that happens in my day, and yeah, just always be with him.
Yeah, me too. I just love that I get to start and end my day with her and get to deal with the good and the bad all throughout the day, and yeah, just hear about all the fun things that happens during her day and my day, and then we get to make memories together. And so yeah, all the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.